Hi, friend. Good morning. How are you doing today? I'm so glad you joined me here at the Friffle table. There's always a space for you, and I love having company while we do creative things. Today's plan is I'm going to show you the creativity that I already finished this morning because a lot of it was really super slow. You'll see what I mean. And I had to figure out what I was doing with this one because we were closing this journal. This journal has come to an end. We are done with this journal with the exception of the July Friffle Hunt page. I'm going to keep it going and then I'll just date stamp it when I finish it for the month. But yeah, I had to finish this and how I know this is only journal number 2, but I kind of got into a routine of how I like to close them. And so, yeah, I needed to do that off camera just so I could take my time and figure out how I was doing it. So I'm going to show you what I did and take you through my top 10 favorite pages in this journal and why they're my favorite. And then if we have time, the plan is to open the new journal and get started. So before we get going, I am going to light my candle, but while you're waiting, do you have your drink? Do you have your hydration? I'll give you a moment while I do this to go get a drink if you don't. This particular candle is not going to last me much longer. It's not. Today I'm working with an ice cup full of, whoops, you can't really see my cup, can you? That's okay. It's a nice cup full of ice. And it's got a, I just bought them a couple of days ago. Well, a few days ago to try. It's Dunkin' Donuts Refreshers, but as powdered water flavor packets that were on Amazon. That was a really cool find. And so far, I think this is my last flavor to try, I think. And it's the mango pineapple. Hold on, let me try it, see what I think. Yep, just as delicious. All these flavors, just random side note, they've been my absolute favorite water flavors of all times because every flavor is delicious, but here's the most important part for me. They're sweet, but they're not like sickly Kool-Aid, burn your tongue sweet. And that's what I find a lot of water flavors, especially the sugar-free ones. I don't know, maybe these ones aren't even sugar-free. I don't know that I checked that. I thought I did to make sure they were only like 5 or 10 calories, but I don't know. Either way, point being, they're my favorite. They're delicious. Also, before we get started, you'll see in a minute in this pages that, oh, my thing is already zooming you in for no reason. How rude. There we go. You'll see in a moment on the last few pages, I did use that embosser that I told you about in a previous video. And I said when I dug it out next time, I would show you how it works and what I did with it. So it's just this little handheld machine. There's no batteries or nothing. It's all manual, which is fantastic. And what I love is in the back here where your little tape goes, you can take these in and out and change the colors whenever you want to. So, for example, we will pull this one out. Now, granted, I don't know if you're supposed to just yank it out, but that's what I did because there was no like actual button. And then, let's see. Let's do a bright yellow one to match my office. You just pop it in here, as far as I know. That's what I've been doing. Put it that way. And then you just make sure it clicks. And then keep clicking the space. Oh yeah, I don't know if they're all the same. to be honest. This is the only one I've ever had. But you have to keep it on the space bar spot to be able to get it in. So once it's in and you can see it, that's when I start using it after I load it. And then we're just gonna spell out the Friffle table. How about that? So all you do is just go to your letter, squeeze the handle. And then it has space bar, has all kinds of symbols and quotes, like quotation marks and dollar signs and numbers and @ signs. It's got a lot in it. It's pretty cool. Oh, I didn't do the T. One thing you got to remember if you ever do this is you have to like really squeeze the handle hard or it doesn't quite put it in quite properly. Anyway, let's spell out Friffle. Friffle. A space, and then we're going to do table. Ooh, that felt like a clunk. Huh, that was a weird clunk. Maybe I don't have it installed correctly. I don't know, but it works, so that's what we're going with. I'm just going to add a couple spaces on the end to give me some space, and then when you cut it, you just push and hold, and then open. Ta-da! That's it. Anyway, and now, if you can see, I'm going to zoom you in. See, that keeps zooming in. I bet I'm hitting it with my hand. There we go. If you can zoom in, it says the Friffle table. Now the T didn't, this T looks better than this T. I didn't push that one enough for that T. But you get the idea. It's pretty cool. I like it. Let's zoom you back up. So anyway, that's what it is. I like it. It's been pretty handy. I might not be loading this correctly, but I feel like it should like click in so that it stays, but I haven't found any way to actually do that. So, you know, it is what it is. Okay. All right, let's start creating. Or actually, we're going to do show and tell first. Then we're going to create. All right, so I probably should have got this to the last page already. All right, I had to prep this ahead of time. So that way, there we go. I could flip without, you seeing too much personal stuff in here that I have to try to figure out how to edit out. So this is how I ended it. I had been saving all of this cherry themed stuff. Oh, I forgot to add the cherry there. Oh well, it's fine. It's done. I've been saving this cherry themed stuff to do with a picture of my daughter for a page because she likes cherries. Like, she doesn't like the actual cherries. She likes cherry flavored things, but she likes the looks of cherries, like for like stickers and whatever. It's one of her favorite things. So I was saving them for that, and then I have been saving them for probably half of this journal, and I just never found a picture that went good that I liked or whatever. So I thought, you know what? I have a lot of cherry stuff, so let's just cherry theme the ending. So if you can see, I'm going to try not to move this journal a whole lot today, just because that'll make it easier on me if I have to edit anything out. But as you can see here, I've just put a tiny little recap saying what I was doing. I will read you this little spot here in case you can't see it. I put this note in all of my journals now, that when I do quotes, and if you see a quote throughout my journal that I've handwritten or anything, that I put the author down as just -PN. That is just my really fast, quick, lazy sort of way of saying Pinterest, because I love going on Pinterest to find quotes and stuff like that. But I find that I've personally found a few quotes on there that I know who they came from, and I can't think of the examples right this moment, but I know I've done it. That I know where the quotes came from, but in the little picture graphic thing, whatever, photo on Pinterest, it's got somebody else as the author. And then there's a lot of quotes that just, I call them quotes, sayings, quotes, inspirational words, whatever, that have no author listed, but so many people have shared it that I don't know that the person I see, username that's sharing it is the actual author. So instead of writing things, I find that if I write things, it sticks in my memory more. So instead of writing things and attributing quotes to the wrong person and then, taking a chance of that sticking in my memory, I'd rather not misquote people. So I put the -pn so that I know this isn't something I came up with, whatever. Is I'm not trying to take away credit from anybody, but I'm also trying not to miscredit somebody. So that's what I've done for both of my journals, is the -pn. Whoops, I think I just bumped the mic. I'm really sorry if I just scratched your ear. And then I also put the note to myself. This is either to my future self or, I don't know, if anybody ever happened to read my journals for some random reason, then these notes would help them. For example, whenever I say Echo as a name, that's what I call my ChatGPT that I use a lot. Like to talk with, have conversations with, whatever. So anytime I mention Echo, that's what that is. And then I had to put a note. Isabella changed her name to Jade. That's my daughter. She is 14, and her real name is Isabella. But she, this year, I don't know, it's probably been, 3 or 4 months now. She decided she wanted to go by Jade for a while. So we have all really, really been working really hard to call her Jade. And so partway through this journal, or, not far into this journal, I started writing Jade instead of Isabella. So I put that in there in case anybody ever reads it in the future. That's why. So anyway, so that's the start of my closing. And this is where I used that little embosser. I did little embossed titles on my ending this time. So that was fun. So actually I can take this. Nope, I can't take that tag off yet. I need that tag for a second. Over here, I just gave like a recap. Obviously, it says recap. That should have been easy. Recap of where I'm at with everything, sort of, since this journal's been going. Just things that came to mind, whatever. And still decorated it with more cherries. And then over here, I'm not going to read this to you, and it's not personal. I'm going to tell this to you as we go. I started this in my last journal and I loved it, so I'm going to keep doing it with all of my journals in the future. Top 10 pages. So I go through my journal at the end and I make a list, and this is why I had to do this off camera, because my list includes way more than 10 pages, and so I have to sit there and go back and forth and decide which ones I'm crossing off the list and which ones are going to become the top 10. But then I do not try to list them in top 10 favorite order, because I cannot do that. That would take way too much brain power and decision making for me. So I just list them in chronological order as they come in my journal. So we're going to go over those in a minute, and I'm going to show them to you. And then lastly, I include this little letter to future me. I just put in here, little letter. I date it, and then I just kind of, for me personally, for this letter, and I'll be honest, I don't remember what I wrote in my last journal letter, and I'm not going to go back and read it yet. I'll read it someday, but for this letter, I went a little deeper into where I'm at mentally right now, because my mental health has been pretty trash recently. And so I kind of went a little deeper into, what I'm having for issues and stuff. And then I took the last half of the letter to write out all the good that I've been noticing in my life during the duration of this journal. And then lastly, I basically wrote what my hopes are for the future. So, you know, when future me opens this, I kind of wrote as if what my hopes are for the future have already come to pass, you know, like talking about what we've accomplished. So yeah, so that's what's in there. And then I do this now, I've told you in a previous video, I use these little teeny tiny little Velcros. They're actual Velcro brand, and they're just little teeny tiny. I love them. They're my favorite supply, I think. I probably say that a lot. They're one of my favorite supplies, if not my favorite. And so I love to use that for envelopes so that they stay closed and they look cutesy, but I can open them easily. So I did that with that. And then this is kind of personal, but I will read it to you anyway. I closed my first journal with this, and then I've decided that I want to just close all of my journals with this. So the very last thing that gets written in my journal, and it's for like my witchy side, sort of, it just says, "This journal is complete. The story within it belongs to the person I was becoming." Because that's like I don't know if you want to call it like a fundamental belief that I have, I guess, is that goes along with the belongs to the person I was becoming part. I feel like everybody is always changing. Like, you know, you don't stay the same no matter what. And the changes could be little things. They're not, you know, always life altering or anything, but people at least should be changing and growing all the time. Like, we should always be trying to learn more about ourselves or who we are, or our likes and dislikes and what makes us happy, and what we want more of and what we want less of, and you know, all those things. We should all be doing that. And so this during my first journal was something that had really been on my mind throughout that journal, was creating the person that I want to be, but never stopping. Like, there's no such thing as perfect, so why should there ever be such a thing as done when we're talking about growing as a person, or, you know, becoming a better version of ourselves. So anyway, that's just a little insight into my brain, I guess. So yeah, so that's how I ended it. So let's go over my top 10 pages. And I have all these little friffles here. Friffles, yeah, little tabs. Let's zoomed in again. I am so sorry about the zoomy thing. I'm not really sure why it keeps doing that. That's really frustrating. I feel like I keep hitting it, but I'm not really sure how. I'm going to try, hold on. I'm going to try putting, see, I barely touched it. I'm going to try putting this on my other wrist during a video and see if that helps. Not. I'm trying to put this on one-handed here. See if that helps not hit it so badly. Or maybe put it on looser. Like loosey-goosey. So it's not so tight. Maybe that's the problem. I don't like my watch band moving around all the time, so maybe I had it too tight. I don't know. We'll try this, and hopefully I didn't just like zoom you in all the way while trying to put that on. Let's see. It's a little hard working with my other hand. Where's camera remote? Sorry about the pause. Equipment malfunction. And now it doesn't want to connect. Okay, we're just going to let it do its thing. And hope you're not. Wow, it's like... Hello, Batman. Let me in. There we go. Wow, was that so hard? Okay, we're going to try it on this wrist and see if it's going to be a little bit harder working with my left hand, but that's okay. I'm technically, here's another fun fact about me. I'm technically slightly ambidextrous. Slightly. Not like a normal person. But I firmly believe that I was born left-handed. But my mom and my brother is right-handed, and my mom homeschooled us. And so I think we just automatically were taught everything right-handed. And so we just all did everything right-handed because in my late teens, I was learning how to knit from a woman at work, and she was trying to teach me, and I kept doing everything not quite backwards, but like in the middle, in between being left-handed and right-handed. And so she used to like actually watch what I was doing and then try to, what's the word I'm looking for? Not perfect it, but like streamline it, like make it easier for me. And so ever since then, I started paying attention, and there's a lot of things that I do with my left hand that normal right-handed people don't. So I think I can do a lot of like bits and pieces with both of my hands, but working with teeny tiny little buttons over there, probably not my strong suit. So anyway, enough jibber jabber in here. Let's get to page number 1 of my favorites. That would be this page. Now, I cannot take credit for this page. I got this idea off of Pinterest, I believe. I think it was Pinterest. Yes, it was. I'll take this little tab off. So, somebody in a video, and I don't remember who or what, sorry. They did this sort of, something similar to this, where they tore part of the page off, and then they put clear tape down, and then they put, I think they looked like they had dried flowers. I didn't have dried flowers. I just worked with what I had, but I had little flower, they weren't really stickers, but they were just like little flowers. So if you can see this is clear. The whole part is clear. And I thought that was the most gorgeous thing, and I want to do more of that in the future. And I even bought 6-inch packing tape, so it goes, almost the whole width of my page if I wanted to. And I want to do some really cool things with that in the future, with like leaves or something to just make a page out of for funsies. But anyway, so I plan on doing more of these clear things in the future. So I took this one, and I also edited the page before and the page after. Like I made it all part of the same spread so that I could put this, right here, this blue strip, so that when the page is open here, you get that pretty blue background. And when it's open here, you also get pretty blue background. And then I took and color coded my words, because I do this a lot. I color code my pens and markers that I use based on the page or whatever. And this is just a lot of, I lied. I thought I did all quotes I found from Pinterest, which I did on this page. But this is an actual journal page. Well, what do you know? So I did half quotes, half journal page. Didn't realize that, but there you go. That's what I did. My next favorite page is this one. Now here, this piece here, this little gate thing, was a coloring page in a plant book. And I colored it, and then I cut it out, and I took forever cutting it out because you can't see it, but I cut around every single little flower and leaf. That was really hard. And then I cut around the gates and everything, because I had this idea after I colored it, or while I was coloring it, that it would be really cool to make this gate actually work like a gate. So I colored this, cut it all out, and then I cut and put a picture behind it of a garden. And this picture was actually from a magazine. It was a magazine cutout that I had in my Friffle bin. And I glued that behind it, put the gate on it, and then I used one of those little Velcros I just told you about. So now we have a little gate into a garden. And I'm going to zoom you in a little just so that you can see this a little. Wrong way. This way. There we go. And I'm going to move you up and over a little. That's as close as you're going to get. But anyway, here you go. Little garden. Ta-da! This was my favorite, like, first thing of creativity that I did in this journal that was, like, I don't know, really fun. It really entertained me doing this page, even though it took forever cutting out all the little pieces around here. But that was fun. That was very fun. Okay, now we're going to put you back here. Now, this one will probably get all blurred because of being personal, probably. But this whole page here, we've got a bunch of pages here that are together. And this was a personal life event that I reacted really badly to, and mostly reacted badly on paper and in my brain, but not entirely, probably. Reacted really badly to, didn't have all the facts, didn't have the whole story, etc., however you want to word it. I don't know how else I want to word that, but we'll just leave it at that. It was a bad situation. And my first reaction later on was to just tear these pages out, because I never want, personally, to read these and deal with the person that I was in these pages, or what the person I was going through in these pages. But they are part of my story, and that's one of my healing things that I've been working on, is taking the bad and remembering that it's still part of my story. And so what I did was, and I'm going to take this off camera and take it off so I can show you, but this is actually a sleeve. I made a sleeve to go over it, decorated it all pretty, did another envelope with a note inside with an explanation of more details after the fact, and how my brain felt after the fact, and also growth that I had during this time period of this journal, and what I've learned and what I've changed my mind on and stuff like that. So anyway, I'm going to take this off camera for a moment, just so I can take this off. It just slides on and off. So here's this. Make sure it's in camera. Yep, okay. Here's this. It just is taped around the edges here. And then I had cut the paper to fit. And if you can look at it this way, it's just a, there we go, almost like a pocket, but I made it into a sleeve that slides on. Now we're just going to set this off to the side, because I don't want to have to try to put that back on right now. And then we're going to swap to the next page. Ta-da! Here's your next page. I'm still zooming in and out, even though this is on a different wrist. Okay, doesn't matter. This is my next favorite page. Okay? This is, this like little thing here is from the little golden book, Sesame Street golden book, that was called The Monster at the End of this book. And it featured Grover freaking out about a monster at the end of the book. So he does all kinds of dumb things, like trying to tie the pages together, or I think he builds like a brick wall and he nails things together and whatever, blah, blah, blah. That was my absolute favorite book as a kid, and I must have made my mom read that to me like a million times. Probably 100 times at least, like literally. But anyway, so when I was cutting up this book, I found one to cut up for Friffles. And when I was cutting up this book, I got the idea with this page to cut it out this way, so it's all in pieces. Now, I'm going to take this off to show you. So as you can see, it kind of looks like he's got these pages tied together. And what I did was, I put clear tape over it to make it stronger because I accidentally ripped it at one point. I don't know if you can see these, but I've put 3 of those Velcros on here, those little mini baby Velcros. And then they're on my pages here. And then I wrote around them so that he stays and is Velcroed and stays. And then I took the pages and cut them a little longer, little longer, little longer, and then this one, so that they fold over. And then when you're ready, I just find the top two Velcros and put them on. Boom. He's back together, holding the pages. And now he holds the pages. And then I filled it, just as a side note, I filled it with all fun childhood memories that I have, just for funsies. But yeah, this is probably, I know I said at the beginning of this video, I probably couldn't order the pages in order of most to least favorite. But I can say one thing with certainty. This is my favorite. This would be number 1. No matter what the rest of them would be, this would be number 1. Probably just because of the personal connection, but also because I thought personally that this was really clever and creative, and it was really, really fun to do. I will add, okay, there was a lot of trial and error to this because, like I said, I ripped my little Grover piece originally, so I had to put it back together, and because it was so thin and so tiny and whatever, and then I had to cover it with the clear tape to make it thicker. I originally messed up where I put these lines, and I put them on the next page instead of on the first page. So when you flipped it, you had the lines down the middle of the page. I had those all messed up. So I had to recut the pages, and I don't know if you can see it, but that's why we go from page 60 to page 63, because I had to recut the pages. So yeah, this had a lot of trial and error. So if you ever make a mistake in your journal, it's not a problem to either leave it or fix it. And I had to fix this one to the best of my abilities, just because leaving it would have actually, it wouldn't, obviously it's just a journal, it's not going to hurt the pages, but it would have hurt the pages in that it would have messed up how you read it, and it would have made it really, really confusing. So it was fixed for clarity, not because I'm chasing perfection, because there's still mistakes in here. So if you make a mistake in your journal, it is not a problem to either start over or leave it. Both were done here. Okay. This is the next favorite page. Now, this is a lot of yellow, which is my office. My office is a lot of yellow. My office is very bright. Days like today, it's not so bright out. It's very dark and gloomy outside today, so it's kind of dark and gloomy in here, but that's okay. But this page was part of a few pages that I did of my remodel, I guess, of my office. It's not really a remodel. It was just a repaint and move in, because this wasn't my office originally. But yeah, so this was just the reveal pictures of it, and there's nothing really particularly special about this page, except these 2 little strips right here. These 2 little strips are actually part of my office, technically, sort of, because I had bought, this is, what do you call it, like fake leather, fake pretend leather. I had bought a keyboard tray, a keyboard pad, like a desk pad, to put on my keyboard tray for under my keyboard and my mouse. They're on the same spot. And I needed it big enough to cover the whole thing, so I bought the big one, and then it was a little bit too big one way or the other. I don't remember which, so I had to cut it down to size. And so I took the leftover and I made these little strips to put in here. So technically, these are strips from my actual keyboard tray pad, like a mouse pad. So I just thought that was cool. That was like one of those little things where I like upcycled something to put it in here. So that's why that made my favorites list. Next, we have this one. Technically, this page was from a kid's book, and this page, as you can see, it kind of flows into this one. This was actually 2 pages of a kid's book, and I didn't originally intend to put these on here to match. I I happened to find it and do it. But this is what I started with here on this page. I love this page just because I love to save these backgrounds, these big pretty backgrounds, but then I find it really hard to cover them up. But I have on a few pages, but this one was just too pretty and I liked it, so I didn't want to cover it. And so I was trying to figure out something creative to do, and so then I thought of putting the words in it. And so I asked Echo, my ChatGPT, for a big list of little sayings or phrases that fits what I've been working on in ChatGPT with my mental health and stuff. And then I picked the ones that I felt really fit or really spoke to me, if you want to word it that way, like things that really meant something to me in that moment. And so they're positive stuff. Like I'll read it from the top in case you can't see it. It says, keep going. One step is enough. I carried myself here. I am allowed to change direction. That one was a big one. Trust the part of you that kept moving. You don't have to explain your path. And one more step. So that all was important to me at that point. I mean, it's still important now, but that was all important to me. And so this page just made it because, well, it's emotionally important. But also, this was one of those pages where I kind of did my own thing with journaling. I mean, most of my journal is that way now, especially. But, I didn't follow any journaling rules. I wanted it as a background. It's a huge, not personally, I don't feel this way, but I've, seen some people that want every page, really filled. And so this is kind of like a waste of space. It's just one picture and a few little phrases. But to me, I did exactly what I wanted, how I wanted, and I didn't care about nothing. And I was just happy with it. So that's why that one made the list. That's a favorite there. Next. Okay, collage. Okay, I started out, I think I said this in a previous video, or maybe it was over on Instagram. I don't remember now, but I started out journaling not really caring for collage pages. I think, don't quote me, because quoting me would be really bad, but I think, without looking at it, I'm pretty sure in journal number 1 that I did, I want to say there's only one actual collage page, I believe. So when I did this page, okay, everything, almost everything, I think there's 2 pieces on here that were just for funsies. But everything on here went on here for a purpose. There was a meaning behind it. I'm not going to get into the personal meanings behind everything here, but everything here had a meaning. And then let's take the little flag off. This is technically an envelope, little tiny note card envelope that I covered in a galaxy photo from an astronomy book. And so I put in here a description. I wanted the collage page, but I also wanted to write on it, but I didn't want to write on the page. So we hid a little galaxy thing here, and we put an explanation of everything in my little journal for the day in here. So that's like a little envelope pocket, and that explains everything. But this was the first collage page that not only was it cool because a lot of everything on here has a meaning for me for that day, but I was really happy with it. And I didn't normally like collages. So this was like the beginning of the end. Now I love collages. They have to be specific. Like I don't love all kinds of collages, but yeah, this was the start of me like really experimenting with collage pages and stuff. This is the one that means the most. My other collage pages in here are mostly just themed, not themed to me personally. But this little guy, I want to mention this little guy here. I got this little guy. He is technically a jewelry charm that I got at Hobby Lobby on clearance, I think, or whatever they call it. I think they call it clearance. I want to say it was like 80 cents-ish for 2 of them. I gave my daughter one of them. But this was important to me for the page. It has a purpose. But I really wanted it in here, but it's really tiny, and I figured if I glued it, it's probably just going to come off anyway because it is thick. It's a jewelry charm. And so, ta-da, mini Velcros. I chopped up a mini Velcro. It's not quite chopped in half. That would have made it too small, but in case you can see it, come on, camera. Focus. Focus. There we go. It's got a little mini Velcro on the back. And so far, it has stayed. I have not once had to pick it up and put it back on. So we'll see. We'll see how long that lasts. But that was that page. This page here. Very fun. Okay? As you can see, because I'm sure you can read this, it was literally just a fun experiment page. I decorated it to match these little Tootsie Rolls. These Tootsie Rolls are car air fresheners. Car air fresheners. I kind of like tore them apart so they were thinner, not quite so thick. And I glued them in here and they still smell good. See? Yep, they still smell like orange. And then, so we're actually going to stamp today's date because I haven't stamped this in a little while. But I put this little card in here so that I can stamp the dates every time I happen to open this and sniff it and it still smells good. I will say I haven't stamped it every single day because there's been a couple of times where I've accidentally turned to this page or whatever, and so I just didn't stamp it because I didn't want to fill my little space. But we haven't stamped it in a little while, so let's stamp it today. Ta-da! That was really close. Whoops. Okay, anyway, so we started this page May 13th, and today is July 14th, so we're 2 months in, and it still smells really good. Now, I think I've mentioned this before, but this is not a tutorial. This is not me teaching you, and this is one of those things of do not try this at home, friends, because I do not know if whatever chemically stuff they use in there for scented is going to ruin my pages. I do not know. I also personally do not care. It was fun. I had my fun. In the next few weeks, I'm going to be taking pictures of all of my pages anyway and putting them in my storage cloud. So if it gets ruined, it's not the end of my world. You know, yeah, I had my fun. That's what journaling is for me. It's a place for me to get stuff out of my head, clear my head out, and have fun and be creative and do whatever the heck I want with no rules and, you know, no expectations. So, moving on to the next page. This is a Memorial Day page. This page is obviously special because it's a Memorial Day page. And if you are watching and you happen to be a veteran, then I appreciate your service. And if you happen to know a veteran, make sure you thank them. But this page is extra special because I'm going to check my camera here. Oh, yep, I'm going to move my page down. So you saw what the page looks like, but I'm going to move it down a little because I have a little puppy flower. I was decorating this page at the kitchen table because I was trying to just spend some time with family downstairs, but also I wanted to journal. So it was actually on Memorial Day when I was doing this. And my dad happened to come in and he saw what I was doing and he got all excited and he went in the other room and he come back and he goes, "Here, you want this?" And told me the story of how he got it. But somebody had seen him out and about while they were out shopping or whatever and had given it to him because he's a veteran. And yeah, so he thought it was cute and I might want it for a Friffle. And so he gave it to me, and so I added it and I glued it in, but of course it's got a big fat whatever the middle of a flower is called, so it wouldn't fit in the journal. It's actually too poofy, too fluffy, too thick. There we go, that's the word I'm looking for. To fit in the journal. It would have ruined it or the journal binding. But yeah, so I glued it in here so that it sticks out the top almost like a bookmark. I think it looks really cool, but it's mostly special. It is creative, and it was fun to be creative, and that's all cool. But I think it was mostly special because right around this same couple of days, my family had been listening to me talk. My parents live with us, and so, you know, we always have people around. And, well, us, not other people. Well, there's always somebody home to chit chat with. But they had heard me talk enough about friffles and friffling and, you know, whatever. So they have started like picking up on the word friffle and using it. And then they had started at this point finding little things that I might be able to use as a friffle. So it was really cool to have somebody give me a piece as a friffle, and it was like they were participating in something that actually meant a lot to me, because my journal and journaling means a lot to me now. And so it was cool to have other people participate, and they still do it. Like my mom just recently gave me these little shiny things that we used in July's scavenger hunt for something shiny that was from polymailer pieces. So anyway, so that's the fun for that one. That's the meaning behind that one. And then I think we have one more. Okay, this one, I don't know if you can see my tab. I'm going to move you back up. But this tab has an X on it, and that is only because I wanted to make sure that I knew it wasn't part of the top 10. But I'm just showing you this. Should have been part of the top 10, actually. We'll call this an honorable mention. How about that? But this is just my July scavenger hunt, and this is going to stay like this. And then I had made sure when I did it, I knew I weren't going to finish this journal. I was going to finish this journal before the end of July. So I put my date over so that when I do finish it, I can also put the finish date in here. But we're going to keep this journal around for another week or so while we finish this scavenger hunt, or come as close as we can to finishing it. But yeah, so that's why that's got a tab. Well, I got to keep that tab on there. And then lastly, we come back to this page. Remember everything that I just said about collages? Well, this one is fun. And this one I like. It's just a saying that has been told to me so many times recently is, it gives me a happy, okay? It gives me a happy. If you didn't already, there is a video up of creating this page. And what I did was I used a oracle deck that I have that's all just, the cards are shades of colors. And we shuffled it up and we picked a random card. And there's a lot of really pretty, gorgeous colors in that deck. And I got goldenrod. And I don't even know how to describe the color. It's like yellow, but brown, but tan, but brown. I don't know. It's this color. And it's actually really close to this color. This piece here was really close. So we had a lot of fun going through and trying to find pieces, and I think it came together so well, and this page gives me a happy. But I was really scared for the first few minutes of that video, because I'm sitting there looking at that card and I'm like, oh my goodness, what am I possibly gonna find that is that color? Because I love color, like all the colors, mostly pretty colors, bright colors, love colors. Brown is not one of them. Brown is like the one color I don't purposely go out of my way to collect. And this was yellow, but it was like a yellowy brown. It was interesting. Anyway, I'm not gonna rant about that. We did it. We made it. We created something I'm happy with. But I was worried. I was worried for a few minutes because I did not know what I was putting in there. Okay, so that is the end of what we did with this journal. Now, one last thing that I want to do with this journal before we move on to starting the next one is I have a few leaves. This was a leaf from my fiddle leaf plant. What the heck is that called? Must be fiddle leaf plant. I just lost what it's called. It's fiddle something plant. It's one of the leaves. I saved one of the leaves and I've been drying it out, so it's almost ready to use. I'm not entirely sure why it turned completely brown, because a lot of my other leaves did not do that, but it doesn't matter. That's what's in here. I had stored so much in these back pages to dry out. I think we've used most of it, but I got 2 more pieces in here, I think. here's one of them. This was just a random leaf that was really big, and my daughter thought it was really cool and thought I would love it because I like drawing nature stuff and using it. So we're going to use that eventually. It's not quite ready to be used yet. So we're going to put this in the back of the new journal so it can continue drying. And then this was a blossom from an orchid that my parents got me for Mother's Day this year. And this was one of the blossoms, and so I dried it after it fell off. That's, again, not quite ready. And then this is the other leaf from my fiddle. It must be called a fiddle leaf plant. I don't know why that's tripping up my brain right now, but it is. ADHD for the win. Woo. But yeah, this was just a really huge leaf. The plant I have, it's like one of those ornamental ones. So it's not one of the ones that grows like 20 feet tall, which was really disappointing because I was really waiting for it to grow and it never grew. And that was really sad. But I've had it a little over a year now, and it just keeps getting fluffier and fluffier. It's really short. It's gained a little height. I will say that. It's gained a little height. I think it's gained a couple of inches since I got it, but it's mostly just short and fluffy, and it just keeps gaining more and more leaves of various sizes, but this was one of the biggest ones, and so I finally really, really wanted to dry a leaf, and so I cut a leaf off. And yeah, so it's not ready yet, but we're going to be using that in the future. In journal number 3. It will be used in journal number 3. That's the end of that. And then this was just a little note I had to myself of things that you could add to journal pockets. I'm going to just move that to the new journal when we get there. I'm not entirely sure what to do with my little extra numbers because I'm not going to use them. Because this journal normally had 300 pages, but we did not get to 300. We got to, I think it's 183, but I'm just going to make sure that everything got a number. Yep, we got to page 183. So I have no idea what I'm going to do with this, but we're just going to set it aside for now. And then lastly, this was just my page measurements, which I've pretty much got memorized now, but we're still going to move it over. This was so that I didn't have to keep measuring my page every time like I did in my first journal, because I always kept forgetting what the page size was when I was cutting out my backgrounds. So we're going to move that over. But then I want to, and I think I'm going to use my hobby knife here. I want to cut out, I don't want to rip them out because I don't want to put more pressure on these bindings than is already there. But I want to cut out all of these extra pages that are not used. Okay, and we are back. Now you might have noticed that the picture shifted just a teensy, and that is because my phone decided to turn off my camera, so I had to readjust it to put it back. So anyway, we have already spent a really long time showing this, so I think we're going to close out this video for today. I don't want to keep you around here for a really long time, and I want the next video to be opening the new journal, and I'd like to take our time with that and figure out some creative things for it for the first few pages together. And also coming up soon, I'm not sure if it's going to be in that same video or not, coming up, some things that are going to be in future videos along with opening the new journal is going to be, I'm not sure how many pages we're going to create or what we're going to create. But I have my, I don't want to forget about it, or I have an idea for it, or I just don't want to lose it bin. This sits on my table and I throw random things in here that have random thoughts that go with them. And I would like to clean it out a little and actually put some of these into pages. So that's what we're going to do coming up soon. I'm not sure which video, but very soon in the new journal, we're going to be working on that. So yeah, I'm going to close this video along with closing this journal. You will see this journal again when I do more updates on the July Friffle scavenger hunt. But we're going to close this journal for today. don't forget to go get your water. Stay hydrated. It's very, very important. And if you made it this far, I really appreciate you joining me here at the Friffle table. And I can't wait to have you back. Bye.